welcome to Girl Ascending. Today we're going to be looking at all the cards of the Major Arcana, so let's get started. The Fool is numbered 0, eternal oneness, alpha and omega, there is no beginning and no end. The Fool is an androgynous figure showing a union of the sexes. They look upwards for divine guidance with full faith. The white rose symbolises innocence, as does the loyal white dog. There's even a white shirt under their brightly coloured costume. This is the start of a journey, both literally and figuratively. The background is positive, shining yellow, but beware, there are mountains and challenges to come. In terms of colour, their yellow boots and tights show conscious desire, and the 1 foot raise signifies the start of the journey. The red feather in their cap shows inner vitality, like a flame. Across their back is a black cane with all their belongings, which shows our burdens, dangers and uncertainties, but this is minor when we're thinking of the Fool's energy. Upright, the Fool represents a fresh start, new beginnings and a leap of faith, along with innocence and a certain degree of impulsiveness too. So this is really the beginning of the journey through the Major Arcana. Now, when we're thinking about how the Fool appears to us in the reverse, we want to remember that the Fool brings with it the energy of a false start, or of rushing in head first and being too reckless. Sometimes it can also signify holding yourself back from fulfilling your potential, or even just from being your true self. Now, the Fool is aligned with the dreamy energy of the sign of Pisces, the element of air, and also the planet Uranus, which brings with it the energies of innovation and is the planet of change and of evolving, which makes it very appropriate for the Fool. The Magician is ruled by the number 1, a Roman numeral which echoes his wand. The Magician is masculine, phallic, and symbolises the beginning of life, a spark of creative power. There is the infinity symbol above his head and the auburous snake around his waist. The Magician unites earth and sky and is pure of spirit in a white tunic, similar to the Fool. All 4 suits are represented on his workbench with the idea that all the signs can combine together, similar to alchemy. The card is alive with foliage, with red flowers that symbolise vitality and white flowers symbolising integrity and deep personal spirituality. His wand is upwards, showing the flow of energy and creation, and if we think of old Aramaic, abracadabra meant I will create as I speak, which is the magical energy we are feeling here. In the upright position, the Magician represents channeled wisdom and the power of manifestation. This card is all about your resourcefulness and leaning into learning and new skills. It's a card of connection. In the reverse, the Magician represents reclaiming your own power, that there are blocks in your life that are disempowering you or that you're being manipulated. The Magician is clothed in red, which shows that your power is always available to you, and the yellow background follows through from the Fool, that solar energy of positivity, even in a blocked position. Now, when we look at the Magician is ruled by Gemini, the elements of both earth and air, along with the planet of Mercury. So communication in all forms is key with this card. The High Priestess is represented by the number 2, the duality of yin and yang, opposites in perfect balance. This card is visually representative of Solomon's temple, with the 2 pillars representing B for boar or strength, with J for Jacqueline or the establishment. She wears a light blue robe with echoes of the Virgin Mary and also the crown of Isis, which represents her inner magic. She symbolises the maiden, mother and crone, with a crescent moon in the bottom corner of the card. We can see pomegranates behind her, which signify her divine femininity and also represent the female blood of Sibyl, who made the first tree, with the palm trees bringing in masculine energy, reminiscent of the sacred tree of Hathor that provided sacred milk. The tarot script in her hand represents both the tarot, her knowledge of it, and also the Torah, to which the tarot is deeply connected. She is regal, otherworldly, and is connected to all things as all things are connected. Upright, she represents divine wisdom, personal intuition, and access to your psychic third eye powers. In the reverse, she represents a fundamental disconnection from your spiritual self. Perhaps you are avoiding access to that side of your life deliberately or are unknowingly blocked. She is reminding you to dig deeper and to reconnect. The High Priestess is female energy focused. She is seen in the sign of Cancer, the element of water, and the planet of the moon, which is all about putting in that shadow work to help us to more deeply connect to ourselves. Next up is another card deeply entrenched in female energy. This is the Empress, who is assigned the number 3, the number of unification, of coming together, and of creating new life. She is the ultimate Earth Mother and wears the diadem of the zodiac, as she is connected to all realms and mystery. We can see those 12 stars in her crown. She is regal with her sceptre and globe, and also has the shield of Venus next to her as well. She is dressed in a robe with pomegranates on and sits on a red throw, showing her sensuality, femininity, and the cycle of birth and rebirth. So in that way, she is connected to the High Priestess. She has a relaxed energy. She is benevolent. Corn grows at her feet, trees behind her, a Garden of Eden, if you will. There is also a river and waterfall to signify abundance, and connection to that Buddhist ideology that everything is both permanent and not permanent at the same time. Some see the Empress as pregnant, but this is open to interpretation. In any case, upright, the Empress represents birth, as in new creative endeavours of perhaps a career nature or a relationship, as well as growth and expansion in our personal lives as well. She is helping us to open up to the blessings coming our way and is all about emotional abundance. And in the reverse, she represents suppressed emotions and desires, creative blocks, lack of self-care, and general dissatisfaction with the self. The Empress is represented by the sign of Libra, the element of Earth, and the planet Venus, whose energy focuses primarily on love, self-worth, and relationships. Moving on to our next card, which is the card of the Emperor, which is numbered 4, which is the number for stability, stable foundations, and balance. So we see that we have an older figure, a male figure sitting on a throne. We have that idea of authority and of true power, so sitting in our own power, which is primarily what the Emperor means, sitting upright. Now remember that in tarot it is less about gender and more about the energy coming through. So here we have that idea of the positive masculine energy really seating and settled in that throne. We have our red vital robe, and underneath the armour that is protecting us from all negativity. And in the background we can see the little sliver of a stream connecting us back to the feminine energy of the Empress, which is the card that has preceded it. And we can see that real fiery energy coming through from the background as well, from the red behind in the card, and also from the yellow background as well. And then when we come to speak to the Emperor in the reverse or the blocked position, it is the idea of the misuse of that male power. So we are not using our control correctly, and we need to release that element of self-control that we may be holding on to. So the Emperor is ruled by the sign of Aries, by the element of fire, and by the planet of Mars. The Hierophant represents old religious teachers and is in fact the old word for Pope. Echoing the High Priestess, there are 2 pillars, but unlike the High Priestess, these pillars have no connection and are totally separate, symbolising the esoteric separation that exists in the external elements of life. The number 5 relates to adaptability, with the Hierophant wearing the triple cross-tier crown to represent all elements of the church, and we can see the cross keys of St. Peter in the foreground. The 3 realms of the spirit can also be seen in the sceptre that he holds, and kneeling before him are 2 monks who he is teaching, and they wear yellow sashes, which is the colour of Mercury, who rules communication. And we can see once again the symbology of the the white and the red flowers. So the Hierophant himself wears red, white and blue, mixing together all the colours we've seen worn so far, the idea of innocence, of vitality, of spirituality, all coming together. And in the grey male phallic pillars, we can see some sort of female symbol, although there is some debate about this. So upright, the Hierophant is all about learning and finding both external education as well as being your own teacher. It's about your traditions. Are these helping? Are they hindering you? And it reminds you that there is always the opportunity in life to find a role model and the importance of ancestral guidance. And in the reverse, the Hierophant is a full rejection of previous traditions and beliefs. It can mean that it's time to not conform and to celebrate your originality. It can also mean that perhaps you are willingly disconnecting from your inner guide and asks you to find a reconnection again too. So the Hierophant is aligned with the sign of Taurus, with the element of Earth, and with the planet Venus. So moving on now to our next card, which is the Lovers. So the Lovers is represented by the number 6, which is the number of harmony and balance.
And in the original deck, the Lovers was a card which actually represented marriage with a child in the centre, rather than the angel Raphael or Cupid, whichever you interpret it as. However, in modern tarot, the Lovers is a card that is really about relationships, not just sexual or personal ones, but all relationships. It is a card about making good choices and finding balance in all partnerships in your life. The two figures often seem to represent Adam and Eve, with the tree of knowledge and the snake tempting Eve, who is too focused on Adam to notice. And behind Adam, we can see the tree of life with 12 leaves or flames to indicate the 12 signs of the zodiac. And these flames are also seen in the angel Raphael's laurel crown as well. And we have the colours of yellow and red, giving these sensations of warmth, of energy, of vitality. And we also, of course, notice that the figures are naked, denoting their innocence, and the airy clouds between them shows that this card is about thought, it's about communication, and coming together, that logic is key in these relationships. So upright, the Lovers represents harmonious unions, both personally and professionally. It's about making aligned decisions and choices that resonate with your life path. And then when we come to take a look at the Lovers in the reverse, it reminds us that self-acceptance is key and that this can help us to make better choices. It can also signify that perhaps you're struggling with some trust issues, and that there may be partnerships in your life that need reassessment. So the Lovers is aligned with the sign of Gemini, the element of air, and the planet Mercury. So this is all about communication and things being external, basically, with this card. 7 is the number of spiritual awakening, which is very appropriate for our next card of the Chariot. The charioteer looks like one of the Knights Templar on the quest to find the Holy Grail. He wears crescent moons on his armour, which denotes spiritual enlightenment, and his 8-star crown echoes the pentagram. There's also the laurel wreath that denotes hope and victory too. We can see that there are 2 sphinx at the base of his chariot, both black and white, which are opposing forces trying to go in opposite directions, but the charioteer masterfully steers them forward with his grey chariot. So we've got the colour coming in from the Hierophant's pillars and also the black and white of the High Priestess. The stars on his canopy show divine guidance, and his armour protects him as he leaves behind the comfort of the palace to seek enlightenment, which is similar, of course, to the story of Buddha. And this card, it really carries that sensation of representing in the upright position focus, determination, the idea of progress, of moving forward in all areas of our life to take that chance to secure personal victory. And in the reverse, the Chariot is physically asking us to slow down and reassess. There may be obstacles in our way, or perhaps we've lost motivation. Either way, it's time to consciously reassess your personal path before moving forward. So the Chariot is aligned with the sign of Cancer. We've got that mix of emotional openness as well as hiding inside our shell, our armour. He is also aligned with the element of water and the planet of the moon. So we have really clear connections with the High Priestess card as well. Strength is numbered 8, symbolising power, courage, and inner and outer strength. Originally, A.E. Waite had strength as card 11, but switched this with justice to create a better astrological balance in the deck. The woman on the card has the infinity symbol above her head, like the magician, and is showing mastery over the lion by closing its mouth. The lion symbolises primal urges, fire, and desire, and the strength card shows our ability to master ourselves. The mountains in the background show we have overcome challenges and are now protected in a place of stability. The laurel wreath on the woman's head shows hope and victory, seen in the card of the Chariot as well. So in the upright position, strength is reminding us that we have the courage inside us to do what needs to be done. It also reminds us to be compassionate with ourselves as we tame our more fiery elements. And then when we come to the card in the reverse, strength shows that we have lost control over our desires and are being ruled by them instead. We are disconnected from our courageous core and may be feeling powerless. Strength is aligned with the sign of Leo, of course, the element of fire, and the planet of the sun. The Hermit is numbered 9, known as Yod in Hebrew, a divine point of energy. His face is partially concealed, as here we are dealing with our shadow selves.
He carries a 6-point star or Star of David in his lantern, guiding him forward as a father figure in a spiritual sense. The green background signifies forgiveness, compassion, and unconditional love, whilst his grey cloak shows the symbolism of balance which we have seen before in previous cards. His staff, like the magician, shows authority and is coloured yellow, showing new hope and the light that is coming. He's clearly moving forward in his stance and is deeply connected to the earth and the mountains. We feel that the Hermit perfectly encapsulates Jung's archetype of the old man, looking both inwards and outwards at once. Upright, the Hermit represents taking time away to find healing and to reveal the answers you are searching for. In the reverse, the Hermit represents coming back to the world after time away, waking up in a new adventure. However, it can also denote feeling lonely or isolated. It depends on the question the querent is asking. The Hermit is aligned with the sign of Virgo, the element of Earth, and the planet Mercury. So there's a clear feeling of communication, maybe not outwards, but definitely internally, in order to find that personal clarity.
We have now come full circle with the number 10 denoting the completion of a cycle. The Wheel of Fortune was a medieval symbol of earthly power, and here we can see all 4 elements and zodiacs represented, with a water bearer for Aquarius, a lion for Leo, a bull for Taurus, and an eagle for Scorpio. There are also the symbol elements for Mercury, sulphur, water, and salt, representing the 4 elements. The 2-headed snake moves the wheel both backwards and forwards, and Anubis the jackal shows good always ascending. The tarot letters in the centre denote both tarot, Torah, the manuscript for life, and rota, the old word for wheel. This card is all about the cycles of life and learning to take the good with the bad. Upright, the Wheel of Fortune reminds us that there are always forces at work out of our control, and we must sometimes trust in divine timing. Equally, we may have already reached a turning point, and now we just need to trust in the process. In the reverse, the Wheel of Fortune shows that we are fighting against what the universe has chosen for us, and that we are resisting the natural cycles of life. This is a reminder to just let go and to go with the current instead of swimming against it. The Wheel of Fortune is aligned with the sign of Capricorn, the element of fire, and the planet Jupiter, which is often aligned with the energy of fate, with expansion, and with new experiences.
Justice is number 11, or can be added to make 2. It is a card of balance and the highest ascension. She holds a double-edged sword pointing up for victory and wears a crown, the symbol of authority, and once again we see a powerful figure sat between 2 grey pillars. She holds golden scales reminiscent of Mat, who weighed the hearts of the dead before access could be granted to the afterlife in Egyptology. The sword is on the right-hand side, representing logic, and on the left-hand side we see the scales, representing intuition. She wears red for confidence and courage, yellow for clarity and positivity. Upright, the Justice card is all about self-honesty, equilibrium, balance, fairness, and of course, justice. However, in the reverse, Justice represents the avoidance of the truth, that sense of imbalance, and that perhaps the truth is being avoided. It could mean that you yourself are facing some kind of injustice, or conversely are not being totally honest with yourself and are avoiding the truth and not taking accountability. Justice is aligned with the sign of Libra, the element of air, and the planet Venus. The Hanged Man is numbered 12, the number of cosmic order and completion. The T-shaped tree symbolises the meeting place between earth and sky, with the Hanged Man's position echoing the upside-down triangle symbol for water. His face is calm and serene, light around his head, like a yogi achieving enlightenment. His red tights are the colour of life, and his blue tunic has the colour of spirituality. The tree is alive and green, and he hangs by a rope, like an umbilical cord between man and nature. Upright, the Hanged Man represents mystical awareness and a higher perspective. It can also remind us of the importance of sacrifice and how surrendering to our life path can bring great results. In the reverse, this card shows life is moving again after perhaps a little pause. It can also be a sign of refusing to accept a tough situation or losing faith in ourselves. The Hanged Man is aligned with the sign of Pisces, the element of water, and the planet of Neptune, which carries the energies of dreams, high ideals, and all things mystical. Death is a transformation card, lucky or unlucky 13, which can be added to make 4, a number of solid foundation. The book of Revelation says, "Behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death." The colours are black and white, represented by the flag with the rose, and this represents both authority and purity. There is an abundance of water, showing the depth of emotion that comes with endings and beginnings. The armour protects the smiling skeleton, showing our inner self travelling on the path to our higher self. The child, maiden and priest show that change comes for us all, and the fallen king signifies that even if we are important or have money, it doesn't matter, we must all give up our power in order to move forward. This card represents deep transformation, a time of transition that may require mourning on some level. It can be a positive time to release negative energies and embrace a fresh start. In the reverse, Death shows that we are resisting change and that we have not yet done our inner shadow work in order to be transformed. The card of Death aligns with the sign of Scorpio, the element of water, and the transformative planet of Pluto, as well as the courageous planet of Mars. Temperance is numbered 14, or added to make 5, a number in balance that signifies freedom and adventure, as well as barriers and hardships. This is a card of duality, but also of balance and connection, with cups that keep refilling, with the angel's feet in the water to complete the connection cycle. Everything is in balance. There are 2 goblets, 2 flowers, 2 wings. The angel, in fact, echoes the Lover's card with its red wings, and the symbol for fire can be seen on the tunic, along with the fiery halo, symbolising divinity and clarity of thought. A crown hovers over mountains in the background, showing challenges that have been overcome and that a new dawn is rising. There is also the idea of alchemy, that all elements are coming together to combine into something better. In the upright position, Temperance represents renewal after a period of destruction, of being moderate in our desires, and of finding that important middle ground. In the reverse, Temperance represents disharmony, disarray, and a lack of spirituality in our lives. Temperance as a card is aligned with the sign of Sagittarius, the optimist, the element of fire, and the planet of Jupiter, which brings with it the energy of keeping the faith and gaining a greater, deeper understanding of our core beliefs. The Devil is numbered 15, which can be added to make the number 6. Surprisingly, this actually represents perfect balance and natural integration, like the hexagon seen in a beehive. The Devil wears an inverted pentagram and has a cross drawn into his hand. There are echoes of the Lovers, with the Adam and Eve figures now part of the Tree of Life and the Tree of Knowledge, but they're actually attached to them via a tail. The chains that they're wearing are loose, however, as if to say that the couple have the choice whether or not to be enslaved. We can see that the Devil has one arm up and one arm down, like the magician, making sure that his power is going into the earth and into the sky. This is a powerful card, and upright, the Devil shows that base human nature is in control. We are self-sabotaging and stuck in cycles of shadow, of shame, of codependency, or are indulging in negative sexual connections. In the reverse, the Devil represents removing these shackles and bonds and gaining mastery over the material world. It can also mean that it's now time to stop being distracted by external pleasures and to get serious about our lives. The Devil is aligned to the sign of Capricorn, the element of Earth, and the planet Saturn, which is all about revealing ourselves, lessons, and boundaries. The Tower is numbered 16, or added together is 7, which is the number of spiritual awakening. The Tower has strong masculine yang energy and is a card of mental and physical change. It echoes the Tower of Babel and the Maison de Dieu, when God sent down confused tongues after revenge was taken against the Great Flood. There can also be seen leaves from the Tree of Life floating down. This card is about shaking things up in a major way, with blue and red robed figures falling to an unknown destination. The falling crown shows that wealth and position cannot protect us from change. Upright, the card of the Tower represents the collapse of current situations and a period of intense upheaval. It is a real jolt of awakening, which can be scary, but at the same time is very necessary. And when we come to look at the Tower in the reverse, it represents restoration, resistance to change, and new beginnings. So sometimes it can be seen that the blocked reading in this case is actually a little bit more positive than the upright meaning, although there are positives and negatives to both. Now the Tower is aligned with the sign of Aries, with the element of fire, and with the combative planet of Mars. Now, moving on through the Major Arcana, leaving behind the heavy masculine energy of the Tower, we now move into a softer, more feminine energy with the Star. The Star is numbered 17 or 8, the number of salvation and new beginnings. There is an innocent, naked woman with parallels to Temperance in terms of her activities, showing how there are watery energies and how all our emotions are all connected. So this is definitely a card of cleansing, of saying that it is okay to take a break and to just let go. And we can see 8 shining stars in the background, which make us think of the rider in his chariot with his 8 pointed stars of hope and victory. This card is about catching our breath, and in the upright position signifies hope, faith, mental renewal, and becoming more collectively aware as well. So it's not just about ourselves, but about other people. And in the reverse, the star represents feeling helpless or losing faith. It can also show that our mental well-being is in jeopardy and is being neglected. The star is aligned with the sign of Aquarius, the element of air, and the planets Saturn and Uranus, helping us to find the benefits of structure and innovation in equal measure. Moving on from the star, we now come to the moon. Now, the card of the moon shows a waxing moon and sun looking over water and land. Numbered 18, or added together to be 9, we know now in tarot with that number that we are almost at the end of a cycle. We can see a dog and a wolf represented, which show both our domestic and our untamed sides as well, and there is a crayfish scavenging between the two. And once again, there are 2 grey pillars which can be seen, with leaves from the tree of life falling between them. This card is a literal interpretation of the dark night of the moon, the dark night of the soul, and invites us to do our shadow work. As we can only see one side of the moon, we must also prepare ourselves for secrets to be revealed if this card is pulled. Upright, the moon represents seeing through illusions in order to face our fears and the fact that we need to do that inner work really as a necessity. And then when we come to looking at the moon in the reverse position, we can see that the moon represents a resistance to this shadow work. However, it can also represent letting go of fears and seeing an end to an uncertainty, so there is both positive and negative interpretations in the blocked position. The moon is aligned with the sign of Pisces, with the element of water, and the planets Jupiter and Neptune, which are combining the energies of luck and fate, with also mental shifts and dreams. Of the sun. And the sun is numbered 19, or added together, of course, makes 10, which shows the end of a cycle, a full completion in tarot. We can see that there is a child riding the pale horse, which we've seen previously in the death card, but now it is written by a happy child who is naked and open, showing that they are embracing the gift that is life. This is a card of returning energies in terms of calling our power back to us. We can now see the full face of the sun, there's no moon covering it, and we can really feel that strong, positive solar energy. And in the background, we can see sunflowers, which symbolise traditionally the 4 elements, air, earth, water and fire. And as there are 4 behind the walled garden, we know that all the elements are being combined in this particular card. Now, upright, the sun represents clarity, liberation, success, and expansive opening to blessing. So this is a very, very positive card. And then in the reverse, the sun represents a delay in feeling these positive feelings, or conversely, it can also mean that perhaps we're being a little bit over optimistic and we're getting a bit out of touch with reality in terms of how positive or not a situation may really be. Now, the sun is of course aligned with the sign of Leo, the element of fire, and the planet of the sun. Okay, so now we're coming up to our penultimate card in the Major Arcana, and this is the card of Judgement, which is numbered 20, or of course added together to make 2, and this is a card of balance and equilibrium. We can see that the Archangel Michael is providing light and salvation over the souls who are being reborn. This card shows a man, a woman and a child, giving a sort of a traditional idea of salvation for all. And his golden trumpet is being blown to restore life. And we can see the water and the ice-capped mountains are clearly connected. And with the red wings of the angel, we are now thinking about that narrative carrying through from the card of the Lovers all the way back at card 6 as well. So we're really feeling this idea of the Major Arcana as a journey. Now, upright, the card of Judgement represents revelations, forgiveness and breakthroughs. It's a very positive card. And then in the reverse, Judgement shows a refusal to change. So this is kind of more of a reversed meaning rather than a block. You may be feeling a fear of the unknown, or just generally feeling stuck in a rut or not knowing which direction to take. Now, when we're looking at the card of Judgement, we know that Judgement is aligned with the sign of Scorpio, the elements of fire and water. So we have two elements going on in this card here, and also the transformative planet of Pluto. And now we come to the final card of the Major Arcana, which is the World. And here we have a genderless figure who is often thought, facially at least, to be based on the actress Florence Farr. A.E. Waite and Pamela Coleman-Smith, the illustrator of the Rider Waite deck, were very involved with the Golden Dawn, as was actress Florence Farr, but that's something we'll go into at another stage, at another video. Anyway, here we have this idea that everyone is represented, that there is no gender, that it is both masculine and female energies, which is lovely. And we also have the 4 signs of the zodiac all represented. We once again see the water bearer for Aquarius, the eagle for Scorpio, the bull for Taurus, and the lion for Leo. And this, of course, reflects back to us the Wheel of Fortune card, except with the card of the World, there's no wheel, there's no chance, everything is complete, it is just as it should be. And we can see that the central figure is holding 2 wands, like the magician, fully in control of their power, and that there is a victory wreath completely encompassing the figure in the card. So upright, the World represents the completion of a journey, of reaching a goal, and really taking the time to celebrate and embrace that victory. And then when we are looking at the World in reverse, we want to note that the meaning behind that is a stagnation or a delay in fulfillment. But there's still a very positive energy. Good things are coming. They're just going to take a little bit longer perhaps than you would like. So the card of the World is aligned with the sign of Capricorn. It is also aligned with the elements of Earth and the planet of Saturn, which is reminding us of the importance of structure, of hard work, and of embracing life's challenges. Okay, so there we are, all 22 cards done. I hope you found this video useful, that it helps deepen your connection with your deck for giving readings either for yourself or for other people. But if you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another tarot video soon. Bye!